Hey, hello everyone. So now that it's cache, let's take this and always remember to check your load from disk, because if you don't check that, you will know that it's like if you are not doing anything. So if we check that, now we'll see that the process is faster, so you don't have to cache. Okay, but let's continue with the Vellum one. That it's the one that we are interested in. So here in the guide sim, as always, you can change the colors, but you have the solver here. So we have the wire solver and the Vellum solver. We can know that if we allow editing of content, and we get inside, here we have all the setup for the wires and all the setup for the Vellum. In this case, we are gonna work here into the Vellum one, okay? So remember that here we have our start frame and the time scale. I always leave the time scale as 1, okay? Remember that. Then we have the Vellum solver. Here we would have the substeps and the constraints iterations and all the stuff that we have seen into the cloth. Then we have the Vellum physicals, which we have the thickness and the mass, if you want to increase the mass, so you always have the value here. And then we have the Vellum constraints. In this case, we don't have to create the Vellum constraints like we did in the cloth. So the orientation pin, if you are doing like really hard, like a punk man, I always recommend to change to hard constraints, because they are going to be like more sticky into the geometry. But leave it as soft for the hair. It's going to work perfectly. And in stretch tab, we have the stiffness and the bend. So it's gonna be great. If we increase the bend stiffness a lot, our hair is gonna be like super, like very, very, very stiff. Okay, which is kind of cool with our John Wick, because remember that at the beginning, when we check the references for the cloth, we always check the references for the hair. And we realize that when John Wick is fighting, the hair is not moving a lot, okay? But in this case, we put 500, which is a lot. But we should reduce that number, but increase it at the same time. Okay, don't put 1. Because if you put 1, the result is gonna be like a woman hair, okay? And we don't want that. So let's come back here and let's put like 100. Remember that these numbers you have to tweak, okay? There is not a mathematical formula or something that always put for men hair, just put 10 from stiffness and 1,000 from stretch. It's not working like that. You have to do your test and do the tweaking, okay? As I can see here, maybe 100, it's too much. Because we are losing the movement of the hair a lot. Let's leave the simulation a little bit more. But it's kind of cool, okay? I don't know if to check your bar of your cache, if you go to the Vellum sim, here you will be able to check your... No way. Here, to check your cache bar, to know how many frames you have cache, okay? So the stiffness here, I can see, is too much. Let's increase it by 10. We just gonna check how is it going with that. Remember that we should do a flipbooks because now it's very difficult to know if the simulation is working really nice, because it's like kind of difficult to know, like doing that. So let's do a flipbook here, and let's put from the 984 to the 1054. Let's select the camera, remember. Okay, let's see what we have here. Oh, there was a flipbook. I was doing a test of peeling for another course. I'm preparing. Let's put the 984. And yeah, the hair is still too static. Let me try with 1. Let me decrease that to 1. Let's go to the first frame. Let's put 2. Put 10, 50, 54, 52. That was okay. So as you can see here, we decrease a lot the stiffness value, and the result that we are achieving is not what we want, because if we check the references, the John Wick is not moving like that. So let's increase a little bit. So yes, we have done our tweaking, and now I think that I'm gonna leave the stiffness value into 0.75, which is kind of cool because we are having the movement of these parts of the hair, but we are still conserving the shape that we have comb of the guides. It's gonna be like really nice. If you wanna, you can check this already with your final hair generate, but I prefer to first work with the guide sim, because now I just can focus on the final style of the hair. But yes, what I just did is I just decreased the stiffness to 0.75. You can try to decrease that value if you want. And if you want to apply like the wind force, you always can create here. Here you can create the wind if you want. And that's all for the guide sim node, because these are options that we are not going to touch, because here you have the enable collisions, skin collisions, but these are 2 options that we want to. And if you want, and not in this case, but if you're doing like a very close-up shot, you can activate the self collision, which is gonna keep in mind the different hairs, but the collision of the hairs, but the result is gonna be super heavy. And usually people don't activate that because it's really difficult to know if the hairs are colliding to each other, because we are having a lot of them. And here, if you want, you have the tab of caching, so you can cache your guide sim, which I recommend you really well. And I'm gonna do the cache right now. Okay, so in the next chapter, we're gonna finish our final hairstyle for the John Wick, and that's gonna be almost the whole grooming process. Okay, so let's do your cache and see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.